once again, and welcome once again. This is going to be day 3 of my series for the rest of July. I call hashtag WTF, not WTF, I'm sorry, WTH, White Thugs of Hell. And today's subject, well, the face itself is no surprise that he would make that this piece of trash would make my list. And none of them could even come worse than this murdering sociopath, George Zimmerman. Now, me being here from South Florida area, as well as the territory of Florida, we already know what had transpired and what he did. You looking at the face that murdered a 17-year-old child, that murdered our brother Trayvon Martin. And reason why I take this very close to heart, along with that of Sandra Bland, of course, is because the fact of the matter, Trayvon was a Miami native. Okay, I know his father. I knew his mother, Sabina Fulton. I had the pleasure of meeting her, as well as knowing his father, Tracy Martin. Well, we all know the infamous incident that happened up in racist-ass Sanford, Florida, which is like a few miles outside of Orlando. That's in Seminole County, where this piece of shit, oh God, I said I wasn't gonna cuss, so I said now. Well, this piece of spineless parasite was sitting in his truck, which, it comes to confirm that, yeah, he had an argument with his then now ex-wife, Shelly Zimmerman. And Trayvon Martin, let me just go ahead and recall it and take it back. It was on a rainy night up there in Sanford. You had the NBA All-Star Weekend was showing that year. Trayvon was coming home from the store, bag of Skittles, and some Arizona iced tea. And it just so happened, like I say, he's wearing a hoodie. So therefore, the fact of the matter, because, it was raining. Of course, down here in Miami, we do that all the time. If it's raining, it's like light to moderate rain. We may not want to carry an umbrella and all that. So guess what? We're going to wear a hoodie. You know what I'm saying? To protect us from the elements. That's just how we get down like that here. But but keep in mind, people, and I'm going to just give y'all a little lesson. When it comes down to Central Florida, the landscape, everything there is beautiful. You think of Central Florida, the first thing you're thinking of is Orlando, which is the main thing there. Then it's Kissimmee, and then it's like several other places around there, like Lake Mary, where he's been seen at, and of course Sanford. But Central Florida also has their little influx of redneck peckerwood crackers. Most, if not most of whom are affiliated with Ku Klux Klan chapters. Because, like, keep in mind, Florida is the Ku Klux Klan capital of the country. Everybody think is Alabama, is Mississippi, is South Carolina, and East Texas. Yes, it is. And Louisiana, I'm sorry, as well as Arkansas and Oklahoma. And, of course, the birthplace where the Klan first started at, and that happens to be Tennessee. And also the Carolinas. But Florida? Yeah, Central and particularly North Florida. Yeah. I'm going to get back on the history lesson Sanford later. Let me continue the story. So as Trayvon was trying to get out the rain, this piece of garbage here was sitting in his truck. He called the Sanford police saying that, racially profiled the Trayvon, saying look like he's trying to break into something or break into a house. Trayvon was trying to get out the rain so he can get home. And, so what he does, the self-proclaimed neighborhood watchman, typical vigilante, decides to go ahead and audio where he he had a gun with him and stuff, you know. Because I'm gonna tell you something, like right now, me being very pro gun and me being very pro thing like this, I'm gonna tell you right now, you know, he's a pussy. He's a straight pussy. You know, he couldn't get no hands. He don't have no hands, so he got to have a gun to go ahead and resolve his problem. Anyway, because you gotta understand, this thing brings back so much influx of anger in me right now. So I'm really, really, really trying to constrain myself while I tell y'all the whole thing about what happened. I ain't going into detail for detail. But while he's on the phone with the dispatcher from the Sanford Police Department, the dispatcher asked him, excuse me, sir, are you following him? And Zimmerman replied, yes, I am. Okay, we don't need you to do that. Right then and there, he should have been standing down. But nah, the psychology of people like Zimmerman figures, like, you know, he can't get with nobody with hands. So, you know, when a coward gets a gun, they feel emboldened. Much like these Trump pansies. They feel emboldened. And, you know, Trayvon was on the phone with his friend Rachel Gentile, you know. And, you know, he was telling them, she was asking them, he was telling her that somebody following me. And, you know, and she asked her, who? Now, this is where it gets interesting. I'm going to put a spin on this like this, because the guy was also going to make my series as well. He said, in his words, I don't know, some creepy ass cracker. Now, you know, keep in mind, you know, that's not what I would have said too. You know, we didn't know anything about it now, but the more we think about it, you look at Zimmerman, as you can see, he got those Afro-Latino features and shit. You know, his family them being had descended, as they say, from Afro-Peruvian. You know, his mom at least. You know, the dad just straight motherfucking Peckerwood. I say I was gonna cuss, but you know, last name Zimmerman, which is a German name, or should I say, so-called Jewish name. So, you know, it's like this. Look, and Trayvon, him being from Miami, we like this. If you following us, if we seeing somebody suspiciously following us, of course we gonna come around and we gonna come back around. We gonna confront you, saying like, you know, what's up? Why is you following me? And, you know, that's when the confrontation ensued, because Zimmerman thought, I'm going to tell you why he thought. See, he thought that Trayvon was like one of those, one of the brothers up there from Central Florida and all that. Never mind the fact that he forgot that he doesn't know that Trayvon is from here in Miami. And see, in Miami, see, we the types like this. If we see somebody, even if it's not one of our own, but if we see somebody that's non-Caucasian, and you know, you following us for a good distance or whatever like that, unless you trying to get to the same destination in the same direction where I'm going, that's different. But we gonna have that sixth sense, and we gonna know, like, hold up, we gonna step to you like, what's up? Why is you following me? Why is you even watching me? We that confrontational like that. We're that confrontational. See, Zimmerman thought that he was dealing with a little patsy, you know. And see, now the infamous, how the media put a spin on it, talking about saying that Trayvon attacked. And see, this is how we know how the media lies and try to paint the picture of Trayvon Martin being a thug, a so-called thug and all that, which he wasn't. Saying that he attacked Zimmerman and all this other stuff, and Zimmerman turned around and shot him in self-defense, which he didn't. Because the reason why I say that, because see, in case any of y'all have forgotten, that I'm gonna put that link up right here in the description, that the funeral director who received Trayvon's body after Zimmerman murdered him. And you heard Trayvon screaming for help, but they telling you that was George Zimmerman screaming for help. No, that didn't sound like no 30-something-year-old man screaming for help. That was a child screaming for help, a 17-year-old child. That's how the media turns around and lies and depict this picture of Trayvon being like, oh, he's being a monster and all this other crap like that, as they normally would do any other child of being of African American descent, being black. But here's a spin on that whole thing. It was two other individuals that came running out after Zimmerman murdered Trayvon. One of those guys, I'm gonna put his picture up. If I can find his picture on Instagram, I will find it. I'll put it up there. The other one was none other than that no good fucker, Frank Taffy. Yeah, the outspoken one, that outspoken cracker. That's the one, known racist, known woman beater, and all that. Zimmerman no different. I believe they concocted that whole story, where we saw the pictures of Zimmerman taking the blows in the back of the head and all that. I believe they corroborated that story together. They came out with flashlights. And I believe they made the story up. So they said, like, okay, hit me in the back of the head. Hit me in the back of the head. So make it look like that, he attacked me. He was pounding my head into the pavement. And I just defended myself. I pulled the gun out and I shot him. That shit made me so fucking upset. So upset. I know I said it, but but now I'm just about to let loose. I can't hold this shit back anymore. I really can't. So when we got the word down here, thanks to social media, thanks to Twitter, thanks to Facebook and all that, nobody would have never known about what happened that night up there in Sanford, Florida. Sanford, which is named after a racist slave owner from Massachusetts, plantation owner William Henry Sanford. That's the history of that town, who basically came from Massachusetts down here, and he was practicing, slave trades and all that here in this part of Florida, in Seminole, which is now known as Seminole County. And they named that little town after him, Sanford. Part of my upbringing was up in Central Florida. That's how I know about Sanford. Because, like I said, I told relatives of mine, y'all going to Sanford to go there for what? Pick up something? I'll say, nah, y'all good. Y'all stay right there. I kept my happy behind right in Orlando. So we all knew how the trial went out. And I called it back in 2012. I said, like, they're going to get them off. Watch. The scenario was already set. The court was a joke. Come on. 12-man jury, 6 white women, 6 white men. Come on, get the fuck out of here. We already know how this is going to go. And you had racist ass Mark O'Mara and that other pencil neck Peckerwood, Don West. But then also that whole trial was like a circus. The whole, I think it was worse than OJ. It was worse than the OJ Simpson trial. And then here's the thing, the media put the spin on it. He got a black kid, Trayvon Martin. Yeah, Trayvon Martin. He had a picture of George Zimmerman. The first thing I seen when I read all the comments on Facebook was talking about saying, well, he's not even white. He's Hispanic. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Like I just said at the beginning, yes, his family lineage is being an Afro-Peruvian, as they said. And also according to his little gay-ass brother, Robert Zimmerman, as well. then you start seeing the transformation. George Zimmerman then wasn't looking like this during the trial. He basically, before that, you know, had the little clean face, and he was skinnier. He picked up weight and stuff like that to try to give the illusion to the jury and all that, you know, he's an innocent man, so they can feel, so the jury can feel sorry for him. How I know this? Because I had a friend of mine who happened to be a Latina. She told me how the gang, how they do, and how the gang goes. And I said, you know what? You absolutely correct. Because here in Miami, let me tell you something. The black community, the Cuban community, and also the Latino community, I'm sorry, as well as the white community, down like in Coconut Grove, Kendall, Cutler Bay, Pinecrest, and all of them, all of us said that's bullshit that Zimmerman got off. Yes, even white people were upset. Like, he killed that boy for nothing. And also, you know, it took a spin-off like here, though, you know, given the fact that the Miami Heat basketball team, kudos to them, you know, it was the only team in the NBA that represented and stood up and honored Trayvon Martin, led, of course, by Dwayne Wade. I know everybody finna get out here and saying it was LeBron James, the role player. No, that was Wade's idea, because Trayvon, favorite player on the Heat team is Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade being the father of two boys. Same, and you seen other people, other celebrities like Spike Lee, Boris Cujo, other NBA players. Carmelo Anthony took one wearing a hoodie. You know, the I Am Trayvon movement. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no doubt. I posted mine on Facebook. I wore a hoodie as well. Because at the same time, back in my mind, I said if this fat SOB would slide his behind down here to Miami, we would get hands on him. You know, because I heard plenty of YouTubers that talk that trash, talking about saying why y'all N-words down there in Florida? Why y'all talking about saying y'all this and that? Why y'all ain't put hands on Zimmerman? Well, let me fast forward to right now. And I told this to Earl Griffin. I told this to plenty of other people, and I said it before. I said Zimmerman did slide his behind down here to Miami on South Beach. He didn't think nobody was going to notice who he was. Keep in mind, to this day, there's still a $10 million bounty on him that's being issued by the new Black Panther Party. Okay? And he was down here with his new girlfriend, the same one that he kicked out the house and barricaded himself in, and the police didn't arrest him. I'm going to tell you like this. When I say he makes my list of white thugs of hell, yeah, he needs it. Let me get to the story. It just so happens he was on the beach with his girlfriend and with the little girl, with the woman's daughter, little girl. A couple of the locals had spotted them, both of which happened to be brothers, and they recalled, like, oh, okay, that recall, yeah, there's still $10 million bounty. So they walked up on him. They say, yo, yeah, you that motherfucker that killed Trayvon. And Zimmerman ran like a bitch. Grabbed this girl and ran right back to the hotel. The brothers took off after him. And when he got in the hotel, you know, the hotel security was there. You know, they were trying to hold them brothers off and all that, but they couldn't hold them for long because it was just not only them two, 3 more brothers came after him, joined up with him. Yeah, they want his head. It got so hectic at that hotel, which was right there on Ocean Drive, when you turn off of 5th Street, right there, next to TGI Fridays. They had to slide Zimmerman, his dumb broad, and little girl out into the back of the car. Just so happened one of them happened to saw that, and they took chase after the cab. But by the time they rolled up on the cab, sped out, hit 5th Street, hit the A1A all the way to Miami International Airport. They hopped on a plane out of there because he was there to come there to be on Telemundo. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, to tell his side of the story about like with Trayvon Martin. And you know, he's been going around here causing all type of stuff, you know, throwing it up in the Martin's face, you know, like with his go back a bit, with his ex-wife. After he got off, he left her hanging. You know, she was divorcing him and all that stuff. She was divorcing him. They had a confrontation at her house where he basically punched out Shelly Zimmerman's father, and he got a big old bodyguard. And, you know, he always carrying a gun. I'm like, you know, he's a coward. George Zimmerman is nothing more. Not only he's a child killer, but he's also a domestic violence abuser. And yeah, he's a racist. You know, he said the reason he's getting all this hell, once again, he's doing just like 45. He's blaming Obama. You know, although that's the one time I would say that President Obama was when he came out and made that speech. If I had a son, he would look like Trayvon, and he explained exactly, you know, when the subject of race, double standards and stuff, of what it's like to being a black man, and you know, and he understood that. That I would give President Obama credit on. I don't know why I say President Obama. He's not even president no more, but it just sounds so good rolling off the tongue. And then also on top of that, you also got to understand too, the asshole governor that we got here, Skeletor, overlord of evil, Rick Scott, you know, as usual, he is about as delusional as a motherfucker. So, but don't worry, people, he's about to be out of office real soon. But one thing is stand certain with this: George Zimmerman never stepped his ass back down here in Miami, ever. That's why he stays up there like up in Central Florida. He's causing all this type of trouble in Sanford, Lake Mary. Remember when I told you before he came down here how he threw his own girl, the girl that he was with, threw out her own house, barricaded himself in there with guns and stuff. I guess they had an argument and stuff, and then you had the police had to come over there. Now they arrested him, and then he got out again. He started some stuff at a cigar lounge and all that. Started shouting racial epithets. The owner of the store tossed his ass out, you know, and I think a couple patrons got involved in it. And then it was another bar, I think some little redneck hick bar out of Sanford, where he was talking about he had a tattoo of Confederate flag. See, this goes to show them, you know, the miseducation of him. Now him, see, he wants to be accepted as being Caucasian, you know. But see, like I say, I'm surprised no KKK member ain't got a hold of his ass yet. Because, like I say, motherfucker, you ain't white. You're just not. You know, it's because he seen another patron that had a tattoo of the Confederate rag on. So he was comparing that. And, you know, he boasting about saying, like, how he shot and killed Trayvon Martin and all that. And one guy, it was a white guy, who got tired of hearing that shit. This was after his road rage incident. I'm going to get it. I know I'm all over the place, but I'm going to just get to that. Because there's so many shit this motherfucker that been doing. You know, that dude got up and he stepped to Zimmerman and walked up there after he heard him bragging about saying that, you know, he killed Trayvon Martin, you killed a 17-year-old kid. And he looked at him, he said, "And you proud of that?" Turned around and punched Zimmerman right in his nose. Brother, the cat got off of his heart, got up, walked out, jumped on his Harley, and sped out. Of course, in that part, ain't nobody gonna say nothing. Shoot. But yeah, he's been just been thugging and troublemaking all this stuff. But meantime, like I say, the lamestream media did it again. They always getting it wrong. while they were so busy assassinating the character of Trayvon Martin, who, you know, only thing they want to do is talk about, say, well, he got suspended from school and he was smoking weed. What adolescent hasn't done that? You got the state of freaking Colorado where marijuana is legal. Every teenager done tried something to experiment or something with. That's what's called being a typical teenager. Shoot. Hell, I drunk my first beer at 15 years old. Go figure. But Trayvon's never been in trouble. He doesn't have a felony. Who hasn't been, you know, and on top of that, he also was I think he was in the aeronautics school to learn to become an astronaut, an engineer. Trayvon had a bright future. And it was snuffed away by this piece of trash here. And believe it or not, you even had black people coming up to defending this piece of garbage. Like his so-called best black friend, Joe Oliver. God, I tell you why he got my name. I never understood that. You know, the one that looked like Uncle Phil from James Avery, may he rise in power, from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That joker. No sign of him. Then you got your typical buck dancing bootlicks like Larry Elder, Jesse Lee Peterson, who is, oh God, he is so confused. He is like a self-hating Elmer Fudd, Backwood, Alabama. Oh, and let's talk about with Charles Barkley, how he said that Trayvon Martin got what he deserved, that he agreed with the jury's decision. Not just only Charles Barkley, Kobe Bryant too. Who's saying, oh, well, I'm supposed to go ahead and supposed to side with the person because they're African American? That don't make no sense to me. Let's just wait till all the facts came out. Kobe failed to realize the facts was already out. If he took the time and researching, and I'm pretty sure he could reach in that iPhone of his and he would have saw that junk for himself, which subliminally say that Kobe may be a great basketball player. You may be the closest thing to his airness. But as a person, Kobe used an asshole. Because for all people, he can't talk how he got caught up there in Eagle, Colorado with that troglodyte that forced him to buy some $20-something million yellow diamond ring, canary yellow diamond ring for Vanessa. But we don't worry about with Kobe because Dwayne Wade checked this behind. Okay, kudos to Wade on that. You know, you say Trayvon was one of us. This is our city, our town, our backyard. It happened here. You know. But Kobe's shady too, and then now y'all start to see why Shaq hauled ass from over there. But I'm not here to talk about basketball. But Kobe subliminally was one of those closet Zimmerman supporters, you know. But they also have their detractors too, and that's about basically the whole world. You know, everybody from, you know, Mike Tyson even said that why ain't nobody even shot this fool yet? The game wanted to beat his ass. You know, George, he wanted to have like a sparring match for charity to help raise money. And who he wanted to pick DMX. You know, because of DMX drug habit. But when the game decided to step up, he backed out. See, that shows you the bitch assness in him. Zimmerman, like him, no different from any other of these race cowards. They want to go ahead and pick soft targets. Somebody like myself or somebody like, say, like Torian Rain, like somebody like 1LVZ or Town Biz, Mr. Superboy 223, or either Phil from the Advice Show. I put it to you like this: 50,000, 100,000 say I'll knock his behind out. But this guy was nothing but a ravager. Definitely made my list of white thug from hell, because like it also was, the media was also trying to provoke a quote unquote race war between black and so-called black and so-called brown. Didn't work. Because of anybody that's born and raised here in South Florida, do we still have racism and white supremacy here? Yeah, of course we do. Yeah, definitely we do. But this was the year, 2012 and 2013 was the year all us agreed that this piece of garbage needs to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Eviscerated. He needs to be eviscerated, you know, because he looking for the attention, like he painted a picture, and which got him a lot of money. Then he goes ahead and puts his gun, the same gun he used, which was I think it was a car or something like that. I'll put it up in the description and y'all see it for yourself. Up for auction, and then he turned around and bought it back. The same gun he used to kill Trayvon Martin. It had gotten to the point he hasn't even paid Mark O'Mara, his lawyer, yet. Yeah, I still remember when Mark O'Mara said he hasn't even paid me yet. And his so-called buddy Frank Daffy, look, now all of a sudden he's starting to come up and say like Zimmerman profiled Trayvon and killed him, racially profiled him. Do not be fooled by that with Frank Taffy, okay? Do not be fooled by that. He just doing that because he got indicted, and he trying to do whatever he can to save his ass, because him and Zimmerman had a falling out. But let's just go current right now. This was from a time span from 2013 all the way to 2015. That he could, every month, he could never stay out the news. Keep in mind, you know, this your thug right here. This is why he's a white thug from hell. Because I'm saying like that. 2005, he assaulted 2 plainclothes police officers, and also domestic violence too at that. But see, this is what happens when your daddy happens to be a retired federal judge. You know, old Robert Zimmerman Sr., who basically got a lot of ties in the judicial arm. And see, and Professor Truth talked about like that cabal about the judges' chamber. You know, that's the safety net. That's part of that 1/3 of that evil cabal, the judges and the DAs. And no doubt, you know, what was going on during the trial, his trial in Sanford, you know, there were spells being put on there everywhere. But as of current right now, lately he's been laying low, which is a surprise. But I still bet my money on he won't lay low for long. You know. See, during that time, see, Casey Anthony, she done laid low as well. After she murdered her own baby. But see, but that's the nature of the Caucasoids anyway. George Zimmerman is probably an exception. And do not be surprised that, you know, he is going to end up somewhere dead one day. And I'm going to tell you something. When that does happen, I'll be the first one to celebrate. I'll be honest with you. But this murderer will get what's coming to him. First of all, you know, rising power to our young brother Trayvon Martin. birthday. Trayvon would have been like 20, 21 years old at this time, you know. But this skunk, this piece of garbage, I look into those eyes, man. I just want to go ahead and put one in him so bad, right between them. That's my take on this. And to any black, so-called black person, y'all go ahead and support and stand behind this piece of trash. You definitely earned the right to be called a coon or bed wench, coon or coonette. I ain't even gonna use coon no more. A fucking bootleg. That's what you are. So, as far as I'm concerned, the hell with y'all. Let's just hope karma does come soon.